Hey y'all.
Hey.
So we are going to talk about gardening today.
One of my favorite subjects.
Yes, just a little bit of plans that we've got, a little bit of brief overview. We're gonna empty our sap buckets, see how much sap we've gotten.
If you saw our last video, was it the last one?
I think so.
Yeah. We tapped some maple trees, so we're gonna check those and see if we have some sap to boil down. But first we are in the garden.
Yes.
At the moment, and we're going to talk about our plants.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about what we're going to do with the watermelon beds, the melon beds first?
Yeah, so we have, well first let's address this.
Okay.
This is basically composted. It's not all 100% composted, but it is hay and cow manure. We had our round bales. Our milk cows just had free access to the whole stash of round bales because they are on that side of the fence. And so where we had them, they just ate and stomped and pooped all winter long. So Derek decided, he was thinking about it, he's like, why don't we take that up here and spread it on the garden? So he's working on bringing it up. And
I talked to our friend.
Yeah, our friend, he lives in Texas, and he's like a Back to Eden garden expert. Amazing, full of knowledge. He actually spoke at the Appalachian Homesteading Conference, the same one we did in 2019. So he did a whole speech on Back to Eden gardening. So anyway, he said this would be a great idea. So we have a lot more. This is just one load. Derek has borrowed a dump trailer and from a friend, and we've been bringing it up. Well, he got one load of it. It's too wet. Found out very quickly it's too wet to work in this today. The ground is wet. But he brought this up, and we're going to bring more loads and spread this over the whole garden. And then we have our massive pile of wood chips that's been breaking down all winter. It's broken down a lot. They look really good, and we're going to top this with that and plant directly in the wood chips once we get the garden going. But anyway, last year we had put down the landscape fabric over here and burned holes in it for our melons. You have to excuse the mess. There's still seed trays and planters and tools and random things in here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to peel that back and put, basically we have two mounds going like this. We're just going to put some of the compost across each mound and then put that back down. So that will not get mulched. That's just going to get this fertile stuff to get
It's actually going to get the compost from down here.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Not this. We have a compost pile of more broken down compost. It's going to be not quite as difficult to work in, and not quite as rich as this. Not rich, but fresh. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we do have a compost pile. He's going to stir and bring that, and we're going to put that there. This is going to go in the whole garden, and then the wood chips on top. We have our boxes. We still have our row covers, so we're hoping to be able to do some cabbage and broccoli. But I'm also going to be starting a bunch of onions. I was supposed to have already done that, and I have not yet. Hopefully today is the day for that. But I think that we will put onions in at least one of those, if not more. We have 3 available because the onions need a really good place to grow, and I think that would be a good spot. But I'm not 100% sure on exactly where anything's going to go. This is just preliminary. We have where we put in our strawberries last fall, all over there. Goats got in here and ate the tops off of everything. We are hoping and praying that they come back, or at least most of them come back. I was reading online, and a lot of people say they actually mow their strawberries down after the season, and they come back every year. So hopefully the goats having mowed them down will not have killed them. But on this side of the garden is where we had cucumbers on this right here on this trellis, and then we had tomatoes on 7 rows. So we have these rows, I believe we did around 60, was it we decided, tomato plants per row? Or was it 30?
I don't remember.
It's a lot. I'll have to count. I think it was 30 per side. I think it was.
That's probably about right.
Yeah. So somewhere around there. So we're on 60. What we've decided is we don't need 300 tomato plants. That's true. I love to grow tomatoes, but I don't need that many. So we're going to, I'm still growing like a lot, I think like 40 something varieties. But I am going to scale down the number of each variety that I plant. So like I might do 1 or 2 of varieties rather than like 10 or 15. So it's a lot. So I'm only going to have 3 rows of tomatoes.
You said you could do 2, and I said,
I claimed
well,
I
I'll
could
give
do
you
2,
3.
but he said, well, how about 3?
Yeah.
So I am going to do 3 rows, and then we're going to do 1 whole row of cucumbers. These last 3 rows here are with this fence that we had laying around, and it's not great. It worked, but it's very loose and floppy, so we're going to use just cattle panels because we have these we're going to move. So we have enough to be able to just do cattle panels on the 4 rows for the tomatoes, and then the cucumbers. I do have Chinese noodle beans that somebody gave me seeds for, so we might have to do an arch trellis for that. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. I also have cucamelons, so we'll see. I'm not sure. We got to figure all that out. But preliminarily, we're going to put, we're not going to take these down, so we're just going to have to maneuver around to be able to put down our compost and our mulch on top of it between the rows. I think it'll be fine. Hopefully, that will help as a weed barrier and cut back on weeds, because this was fresh ground last year. So last year we struggled with a couple of things. This was brand new, fresh ground, broken. It always been pasture, so there wasn't a whole lot of topsoil here really, and it wasn't very nutrient dense. We struggled with our plants didn't have a lot of nutrients coming to them. It wasn't very fertile for them. We did okay. We canned a lot and we grew a lot of food, but even when you're growing food, if it's not nutrient dense soil, you're not getting nutrient dense food. Your food that you're growing is going to be lacking in minerals and nutrients. So the goal this year is to try to get it much more nutrient dense so that what we're growing, for 1, can thrive and we can get more out of it, and for 2, what we do get will be much healthier for our family to eat. And then the other thing we struggled with a lot is the water. We had a drought. Now right now we are swimming in mud. It has been so wet. It's just been a muddy mess. But in the summertime last year we had a drought and it was super dry. So the mulching and all that is going to aid in water retention for 1, and hopefully we have more rain this year, and then we won't have to. We do have to haul water. We have this white wagon. We have a water tank on it that we fill up, and then we have a little pump that runs off the generator that we have to manually water the garden. Hopefully we won't be having to do that a whole lot this coming gardening season, because it's just a lot of extra work. It's worth it, we do it, but the ideal thing would be to not have to do that. We don't have water run up here at this point, so we have to bring the tank of water. But
we got fencing now.
Oh, and that's the other thing. So that's the third thing we actually have an issue with, which this was an issue after gardening season, was that even with, we had 2 strands of electric fence, which has kept out the deer and the cows and all that. Well, goats don't care. The goats discovered the garden and they ate down all of our fall crop. We had a ton. We had like 300 plants. We had broccoli and we had cabbage and everything was beautiful. We had Brussels sprouts. We had, I don't even know, we had a lot of stuff growing in here, and they came up here and just completely decimated and ate every last thing. And they haven't messed much with the garlic. The garlic's been fine. It's looking really good.
They've eaten the tops off of it.
They ate the tops off, but the garlic looks good, but they ate all of the strawberry tops. So we have some fencing that we're repurposing. It's is it basically like this kind of?
No, it's welded wire.
It's welded wire, so it's
wire. Not livestock fence.
It's not livestock fence. It's not the kind of fence you would put up and expect to actually work to keep your livestock on your property. It is perfect for something like a garden, to keep them out of the garden. So we are going to run actual livestock fence and put in a gate to keep the goats out of the garden. The goats have been in, and then now the cows have been in here too, because the fence is down. We were like, well, at this point,
let them fertilize.
Let them fertilize it. It is what it is. So cows don't come up in here very much because there's really not a lot of vegetation to eat. But the goats are scavengers, so they come up here and look for any morsel they can find. But we had a lot of weeds come up, like these stickers. So you can't really walk barefoot in the garden because these things are really not fun to step on barefoot or grab with your hand when you're weeding. So I'm hoping by doing the deep mulch, that we have enough to do deep mulch. I'm hoping to eliminate these weeds and things. I have been sorting through my seeds and figuring out what we're going to plant, when we're going to start everything. I have a lot of new winter squash that we want to try. We're going to do 2 types of corn. Our corn did really well. We did a different garden, if you were following us over in what we call the hayfield. We don't have hay equipment, so it's really just a pasture. Used to be a garden, and we did corn over there, and it did amazing. And I had saved corn from this garden to save seed for it, but the goats and the chickens, we were doing something and we pulled it out, and unfortunately goats and chickens found it and decimated it very quickly. So I had to order more seed, but we got seed for that. So we're going to do all of our corn, I think we're going to do over there, and not even try to plant any up here in this garden. Just it takes up a lot of space, and it did fine. We just threw it and left it, and it did great. It did better than the corn up here. So I think that's our plan for that. I'm going to try to grow some more herbs. I'm delving more. I've taken some herbal courses in the past, and I've tinkered with herbs for years, but I'm trying to really amp up my knowledge of herbs and my herbs on hand and growing my own herbs. So that's something that I am actively pursuing at the moment. So I'm amping up my herb seeds, and yeah, going to be starting those seeds in the next probably month or so. It's really not quite time. The only thing really I could be starting is onions, which I should have already done, and then celery can be started now. So I'm going to do that. Those are actually going to end up going in the camper because I don't have a greenhouse set up just yet. It will be soon. My greenhouse from that Derek built me a couple years ago, I think I told you the other day, it got in a windstorm, it got thrown and busted the back out of it. And so we have a friend from church has glass panels that they're giving us. I'm really excited. So we got to go pick those up hopefully this coming week. And then Derek can build me a real greenhouse with the glass panels, and then I'll be in business by the time it's time to start like tomatoes and peppers and all those. So I'm gonna have to find a space in the camper to start my onions and celery though, which is, yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so I realized that I rambled on for a long time about the garden, which I tend to do, and I was really trying to be concise and not talk about it.
You're excited about it.
I love the garden, so I could talk to you for like an hour about it, but I won't do that. We were going to take you guys over and check the sap buckets, but since it's been a little bit of a lengthy video just talking about the garden, I think that we will hold off on the sap checking until another video for you guys. So you can wait for the next video, should be checking sap buckets. So
plans for this week, we should really be cranking out the videos because we're gonna be hitting it hard on the farm this next week, and maybe two.
Yeah, Derek's been working off the farm a lot, which is, we need him to do that because, but we need him here. So a lot has fallen to the wayside and needs to be just things caught up and then prepped for
gardening.
Gardening, we gotta at some point make chicken tractors or repair our chicken tractors and all that kind of stuff because we got chicks coming, and spring is just about upon us.
It is.
I'm out here in coveralls and I'm freezing, but spring is coming.
Yeah, I want to be ready for it when it gets here this year, not scrambling.
We are always never ready. We are always scrambling to get things together, but hey, it is what it is. So we're going to try to be more prepared this year. So anyway, well, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us and listening to our garden plans. Please let us know what you're going to grow this year if you're gardening. What are your changes you're making, or something new you're doing or trying, something new you're growing that's exciting. Let us know in the comments, but we will catch you guys next time.
See y'all later.